What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 29th of September. Today and tomorrow, we got 24 hours plus whatever 8 hours would be. I guess that's 32 hours. That was pretty easy math. 32 hours left, just under that, left in this month of September. We're coming upon the end of the month. I think actually with that, let's look at the monthly time frame here. Pretty big wick to the upside. We still have a little bit of time left. We could absolutely close the gap on this wick a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if we move down between now and the end of the month. We'll see. We'll see. We'll look at the shorter term time frames and get our bearings. But overall, very, very bullish look here, right? I mean, here when you're up in this area before, boom, rejected. Here when you're up in this area before, boom, rejected. Here, you're just dancing, man. You're consolidating. You're not rejecting. You're doing the opposite. Different behavior here. Different results is what we're thinking, right? And you're probably going to shoot for the stars. I actually want to let's talk about XRP BTC before we get into the short-term stuff so we can really understand the prospects that await us here, okay? And why I'm so bullish, because some people theorize a couple different things, right? Some people theorize that I think XRP is going to $13 or more because I'm biased because I hold XRP. Well, joke's on you. I actually don't hold any XRP. People ask why I don't hold XRP. I like XRP. I think it has a lot of potential. I think it's going to grow, and I think as far as top 10 coins go, it might be the top performer of the top 10, genuinely. But between now and the end of the cycle, I genuinely do. I just think that there are other coins outside the top 100 that have my interest that could grow even more than XRP does. So that's why. I like Bitcoin. I like Ethereum. I like Solana. I like BNB. Love Dogecoin. I don't invest in any of those coins, right? I have a little bit of Dogecoin, just for principle alone, for the memetics. I guess I have a little bit of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and a little Sol too, but it's negligible. I'm getting caught up in the details here. All I'm trying to say is that theory is wrong. Another theory is that the reason why I talk about $13 to $16 being a price target is that it gets clicks and it gets views and it gets likes. Well, I don't put that in the title too often. Sometimes I do if that's the main focus. Maybe I'll put it in this title just to just to spite the people who say that. I don't know. I don't know what the title will be. You'll know, I'm sure. But I think that if we look at this XRP BTC comparison here, if we use this chart, it'll become much more clear as to why we expect $13 to $16. And I say we because I don't think I'm the only person. I've seen other people talk about these prices as well. I have a different time frame. I think this $13 to $16 range could be achieved by the end of October. Some people say it might be by the end of the year, and I could see that too. I definitely would expect that XRP is at least above $10 by the end of the year, but we'll see. Looking at XRP to BTC here, using our brains, I don't even care who you are, whether you're a critic, whether you're a supporter, but you have no experience in technical analysis at all, or very limited experience, this should be easy to digest right here, okay, what we're about to go over. We're finding resistance here, right? It's very clear. XRP to Bitcoin. This is not XRP USD. XRP USD is worth $2.89. XRP to Bitcoin is worth 0.0000297 Bitcoins per XRP, right? This line here, we've been held down by this level here, 40297, since really 2019, the end of 2019. It's since September of 2019. It's September of 2025 now. So for 6 years, multiple cycles, we have been held down by this line. I think it's very obvious, like I was saying here with the US dollar pair, rejected here, we're doing something different. We'll probably get different results if we're doing something different. We're not doing the same thing, which took us down. We're doing something different. Might it take us up? I think it will. We look at the XRP BTC pair, and we're doing something different here, aren't we? We're not rejecting. We're not rejecting. We're not rejecting. We're not rejecting. We're consolidating. We're doing a little dance. We've got our own little bubble up here where typically we're not long-lived in this area. Long-lived we are. We've been here since January. We're pressing the barrier. And while we pressed the barrier here, we came back and pressed it really shortly thereafter. I don't think that counts. Here we haven't had really a rejection. We've just been consolidating after a massive pump up. It makes me optimistic. It makes me think that we're probably going to break through this line, right? A line that you've been held down by for 6 years. And if we think about it logically, XRP is likely going to see new all-time highs from here. XRP versus Bitcoin, XRP will likely outperform Bitcoin over the coming months. If alt season begins tomorrow, next month, next week, whatever it is, XRP is likely going to outperform Bitcoin. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. So if XRP if it outperforms Bitcoin, I would at least expect that we're above this line, right? Now let's take that step. Let's take that thought a little bit further. What does it mean to get above this line? Because it's not just some kind of insignificant line. Clearly, we've shown significance at it for 6 years. Not perfect, not right on the money, but more or less, right? When I say more or less, I mean like this, right? Like more or less, right? Like if we found significance on it more or less. Maybe the line's up here, whatever. Maybe it's not quite this low. I don't know. I'm just trying to get the most contact points, but maybe that's where it is. Whatever. We've been held down by this line. What happens when we break above it? Are we going to, after, and I just want you to think logically here, right? Whoever you are watching this. After you break a line that's been holding you down for years, do you move just a little bit above it and then you come back down? Or do you break through that bad boy, right? After you've been held down by a line for years, 2013 all the way to 2016, for years, to be completely fair, this is not a good example because here you did have a fake out. That was a fake out. You didn't actually break out of it, right? When you broke out, what'd you do? Boom! You rallied. And maybe this line would be more respected if it wasn't in log. I don't know. Maybe not. You rallied, right? The breakout was immense. It was absolutely intense. Hold on, you guys. I gotta deal with something real quick. Hold on. It's my toddler. She came out looking for popcorn. um, there's more to it than that, but I'm just going to leave it there. Anyways, all I'm trying to get to is, do you think what we're going to see here after consolidating like this, after doing something different, after building up and getting this momentum concocted, we're just going to see a little and then we're done? No, it's probably going to be an explosive move. So the question to ask now is not if this will happen. I think logically we can deduce that this will happen, that we will get above this line. The next question is to ask, where will we go? Here's a point where we found some wicking resistance, some closing resistance. After 6 years, that's the move we get? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that's weak stuff. Maybe, but that's pretty weak. That's the first area of significance. The most clear area of significance after that would be up here where you have a monthly closing high, wicking closing high, a little bit of turbulence up in this area. We take the high here, we put it down to the low here, and you can see that that lines up pretty well with the top of our golden zone and the 786. It lines up pretty well with our Fibonacci retracement. So I feel good about that area. It makes sense to me after consolidating like this, after getting a double bottom like this, it makes sense to me that we'd see a move similar to this here. Okay, so what I like about this is the way that I do analysis. I don't like to just think as a one point of rigidness. This is where we're going to go. This is where we're going to go. No. Maybe we go exactly to one of these lines. Maybe we go exactly just outside one of these lines. Or more likely we go somewhere in between. Right? It's a range. So with that range, we can do some math. Google Calculator. We take XRP, BTC, and let's take the low end of the range. In fact, let's even do what I said. Maybe we stop just below the range. Let's find an area that makes sense just below this range. Hell, the golden ratio, right? High here to the low. The golden ratio, which the golden ratio could be an area that we stop at, but we put a line there. We delete the fibs. This line here, the golden ratio, there's not really any significance here. So I doubt we stop here. I really doubt we stop here. I would expect we break out higher. And no offense to the golden ratio, but that breakout, that move seems pretty pathetic for this level of consolidation. That seems more appropriate, or something higher, right? But let's do the golden ratio. We'll start off low. We'll build our way up. 4 zeros, 5, 6, 7, 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, 5, 6, 7, 6. we multiply that by the current price of Bitcoin. Because what I would assume is that XRP to USD, whenever it grows in value, when it sees higher prices, XRP BTC is obviously going to grow. Bitcoin will likely grow as well. So it likely will not be, and not even likely, I think it would be just impossible for Bitcoin to be at this price. Which means that whatever price we come up with here, XRP will undoubtedly be above over the coming weeks and months, okay? $6.47. Anybody out there, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but anybody out there who's telling you XRP could go to $4.20, it could go to $5, it might even hit $6, they're not thinking big enough. And that's okay. XRP has been tame for a very long time. Even in this breakout, you've been pretty tame afterwards. But again, the same kind of logic here. Different behavior, you're going to break out to new all-time highs and that's what you get? No. No, probably not. That doesn't really make sense to me, right? And again, it doesn't even make sense as far as the price goes, because when XRP to BTC moves up here, Bitcoin to USD is probably going to be at a higher price too. So what will Bitcoin's price be at, right? This is kind of a dummy number. This is just to show that any prediction below 647, even around this number, is nonsense. It's nonsense. It's nonsensical. Whatever the nonsensible or nonsensical. I think it's nonsensical. Either way, though, it works. So probably not 114, probably not even 120K. I would think, and I personally believe Bitcoin will be at 180K by the time XRP tops off at its next area. But let's say you don't think the same way as me. You think that's too high. Let's say 140K. Right? Is 140K okay? Can we agree with that? Where's Bitcoin's next stopping point? Here, we hit 123K. Before, we were at 111K, so we went up a whole 12K. Let's make that a little bit more. Let's do 12K from there. 123K, so that's 135K. Can we at least do that? 135K? 135K. Is that fine? Is that conservative enough? That gives us a $7.66 price. So at a conservative valuation, right? Conservative on the Bitcoin pair, conservative on the US dollar pair, right? The Bitcoin pair, we're taking the golden ratio, which doesn't make sense to stop at all, other than the fact it's the golden ratio. It'd make more sense to stop higher. Bitcoin at 135K, because that's the lowest number that we could really make sense out of whenever it comes to seeing new all-time highs. I doubt that we stop there. I would think they're at higher prices, but that is 766. So 766 for XRP is the minimum target that we've logically derived here. There's some logic there. There's some capability of an existence at that level. We take a high to a low of this overall range. We're just below the 1272 though. So to me, it's still too low. It doesn't make sense. I think that we do go, even though we made a little bit of sense out of it, it's not lining up with these key areas that we normally find significance at. I don't think so. I don't think that's where we're going to go. High to low. Yeah, it doesn't line up with anything. So let's pump it up. Let's pretend I'm right. Let's pretend Bitcoin does go to 180K, but XRP doesn't top off at the same time that Bitcoin tops off. Maybe it tops off before Bitcoin or after Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's at 160K, let's say, 160. I think it'll go to 180. That gives us a $9 target. Now we're getting somewhere. Now with a $9 target, we are at least above the 1272. We're at least in an area that somewhat makes sense. You can wick above it. You typically don't stop below it. You typically hit it or wick above it a little bit, and that's fine. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere that makes sense. So I want you to understand this has been a long thought out road about the long-term price action of XRP. We're going to talk about the short-term stuff here. I meant to, but I got distracted with this. It's just been a while since we talked about this. And I've had some comments of people defying the logic here. So we're trying to think of it logically. I hope I'm making it to a way that it's easily understandable as to why we're deriving these numbers, okay? $9 really, to me, is the first acceptable target that we've gotten at a minimum. So really, anybody saying $7 or less, $6 or less for the next all-time high for XRP, maybe we stop there for a moment, for like a day or a week, but we're not going to stop like this. We're not going to consolidate for weeks or a month or months until we at least hit $9 or more. And this is being conservative. Let's take the training wheels off. Let's fly a little bit. Let's see what we can do. Let's use our brains instead of using the golden ratio. This, I think, is an appropriate minimum target here. 407662. 7662, right? double check, 407662. And we'll just cut to the chase. We'll cut the crap. 160K again. That gives us a $12.25 target. $12.26 target. Now we're getting somewhere, right? And that's if Bitcoin's at 160K. What if XRP and Bitcoin do top off at a closer level? Maybe Bitcoin's at 170K. I doubt that they top off at the same time. $13, right? We're getting there. What if I'm wrong on the XRP BTC pair? Because like I said, it's a range. It's not specific levels. You're probably not going to stop here. You're probably not going to stop here. You're going to stop in between. We did the minimum. What if we stopped right in the middle? Right in the middle here, where we have resistance there on a wick, resistance there on a wick. We have support here on this wick. We have a closing high on this candle here and some resistance there as well. Somewhat significant, right? Semi-significant area. Looks like the ring, what's it? The Green Lantern, kind of. Anyways, that's 40941. 941. We multiply that by 160K. We get $15, right? So you see where, and again, we started off with this whole premise that when we break out, where are we going to go? When XRP breaks out, where's the US dollar going to go? When Bitcoin breaks out, where's its price going to go? And I suppose we gave the least amount of logic for that. From a high here to a low here, consolidated below the 1272, consolidated below the 1414. Typically with Bitcoin, when it goes to the golden ratio, you don't consolidate below it. And I say typically, I think in every example that we can find, on these longer term time frames especially, typically what you do is you actually go above it. You wick a little bit above it. So that'd be 180K. That's why I think 180K is where our next target is. But C-Zar, that says 174K. Did you listen? Typically, we wick above the golden ratio. We don't stop right at it or stop below it. 174K is very close to 180K. We could even go higher than that. It might be completely appropriate to input the number instead of 160, 180. But I'm not doing that because I don't make these videos for clicks or for likes. If I wanted to, I could paint the most bullish. We could have cut the crap. We could have hit the highest levels with the highest levels in Bitcoin and gotten the highest possible target. And that is above $17. We've done the math there before too, but I'm not going to do that. I think the point's been made. XRP, BTC, and then using that in confluence with XRP USD and BTC USD, doing the math, the only logical area for XRP to go to, at a minimum, is $9. And the maximum target we've derived so far without even really touching the limits, we're just like kind of in the depths of the range, we're not even at the max potential, is $15. The odds that we go somewhere between $9 and $15 or more are higher than the odds of us stopping at $7.50 or less. Does that make sense? They're dramatically higher. It's dramatically higher. And if we use our brains, we take away all the noise, all the nonsense, all the math that we've done so far, and we just make it simple, high to low here. If we don't stop here, right, because the odds are higher that we stop at a higher area, where's the next place to stop? Are we going to go to 27 bucks? Inevitably, sure. But the next stopping point is clear as day. It's 1356. And with the 1414 and my experience using the Fibonacci retracements and extensions, which I have about 10 years of experience doing this, we know, or at least I know, and then by default you know if you trust my analysis, that you don't do this. You don't typically stop right at the 1414. You typically wick a little bit through it, which means if that is the number we have here, we likely will see prices that are even above $14 for XRP by the end of this next move. Now, when is that going to happen is the question. That's the real question. I think we're on the precipice. I think this shows that we're on the precipice. I think this shows that we're on the precipice. And I think that the way that XRP, we observe how it moves throughout its history, this shows that it will not take much time at all. When we move up, we move like that. It's fast. XRP is boring, and then it's wakey, wakey, time to go, eggs and bakey. Let's hit the show. I don't know. Throw Joe in there somewhere. I don't know. But all I'm trying to say is by the end of this year, I don't think that's too much to ask for. By the end of October, might seem unrealistic, but once it happens, you'll be like, damn, this is exactly how XRP moves. This is something we should have expected all along. Maybe it's in November. It's not October. It's not the end of the year. It's right in the middle, and I just can't be right. But at some point, probably before the end of 2025, we will be in this designated area, because if XRP breaks out, I don't see us consolidating here for another 3 months. And I don't see us breaking out and slowly moving up. That's not XRP's behavior. This thing rips through the roof. That's what it does. Okay. Let's do some short-term stuff now that we've made sense of the long-term stuff. I don't believe that we found our low yet. I think that we still go lower. Doesn't mean that we will. I think if Bitcoin finds its low, if this is the low for Bitcoin and we have determined that officially and there's no chance at all that we go lower than this low, then okay, XRP has found its low. And it's really odd because then we have like a quadruple bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4 lows, and it's just weird. But it technically was a lower low than any of these other lows. So with that, it could be a fake out, I suppose. But it would be really weird. But if Bitcoin closes here or higher today, I would be very curious to see if this is the low. I'd be convinced at this point that this is the low. And then as soon as I'm convinced, that's whenever we go lower. The main reason why I think XRP goes lower is because I don't think Bitcoin has found its low yet. And I think that we have lower to go. But time will tell. If I'm right and XRP goes lower, we will likely see targets around, yet below, $2.60. At the lowest, I think we go to around like 240, but I doubt we go too much below there. I personally doubt that we even get below 250 personally, but 257, 255, 250 itself, something in that area, something below 260 but above 250 is what I think we're going to do. A slightly lower low. I don't think that this is a bearish descending triangle. I don't think so. It's off. Already you can see it's off. It's not like this. And bearish triangles are pretty exact. Now the low, this lines up pretty damn well. I think what we're going to do, I'm not drawing the line the best. Let me try and draw this line better here. We take this high and we connect it down. Right, try to shave it to where it fits best, right? Like this. You back tested it for support. I think we do the same thing. We come down and we back test it for support. Find support right at that 1272. Find support right at the prior area of resistance, right there. We fake out. Everybody looks at this pattern and thinks they do the measure move. They take the high to low and they're like, oh, it broke out. This is the measurement. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go all the way down to $2. No, it's not going to happen. Don't listen to those people. They're taking a pattern that doesn't exist and applying the measure move to it. We're probably going to hold support at 257. That'd be my guess. Or somewhere thereabouts, give or take a few cents. And then from there, move up. If I'm wrong, this is what we look for, okay? If I'm wrong, well, the ultimate way to really validate that I'm wrong or invalidate me is to get above about $3.19. We get above $3.19, I'm wrong. But I would think at $3.05, $3.06, getting above this 382 on a daily closing basis, that would be enough for me. We get above there on a daily closing basis, I would start to wave the white flag of bearish surrender. And maybe take it even a step further, because there is significance here at this daily closing low. You have a wicking high here, closing low there, wicking low there, wicking low there. Some significance in this area. Some significance right in this area, right? You can see it's very clear that there is some significance. I would say get above $3. Get a day to close above $3 at all. And I'm wrong. We're not going lower. So if I'm calling for this, but instead we do something like this and we start to rip, once it's at $3, understand that this is the part that I'm wrong for and the rest is history, right? We flip our opinion like that, no questions asked. And as soon as we flip, that's when it goes down. That's what happens, right? That's what happens. We'll see. Hopefully not. But I've got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, please. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And just understand, again, while these targets are crazy, right? 286 for the third highest ranked crypto, from 288 all the way up to prices that are above $13 in what's presumably a month to 3 months time. That's insane. Insane growth. But it's the only thing that makes sense. It's insane to call for anything less, really, is what's insane. It's not for clicks. It's for, hopefully, correctness. Hopefully, for proper price prediction's sake, right? Hopefully to build a good reputation. That's what it's for, not for clicks. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.